from wherever it is that you are joining us from right away. Where are you joining us from? Put it in the chat box. Let's have conversation. Yes. All right. Let's take it on from here. My colleague will be here also to pick it up and we get the ball rolling ASAP. I can see Alison. Alison is joining from Sweden. Alison, welcome. Welcome. Thank you for joining in all the way from Europe, Sweden. Oluwaseun Fatusin, joining from Nigeria. Beautiful, Nigeria. Welcome, Oluwaseun. Victoria is joining us from the United Kingdom. Victoria, welcome. Put in the comment section. Let's know, where are you joining us from? Where are you joining us from? Put in the comment section. Let's hear from you. Where are you joining us from? Right? Where are you joining us from?
Right.
I can see Ruby. Ruby is joining from Nigeria. Blessing from Nigeria. Where are you joining from? Put it in the chat. Where are you joining from?
All right, Che. Thank you so much for that. I can see Ruth from Nigeria also. Thank you, thank you. And now we'll comment our community engagement session. My name is Arafat Oseni, and I'll be your host for this event. I also have my colleague here with me, Oluwase Odebode. Our speakers are already here, and we're going to dive with a very important and enlightening session. It's titled Mastering Salary Negotiation and Career Positioning in Tech. So before we start, if you know any of our alumni that you know that is meant to be on this session, or our students, you can beat them so that they can join us right on this call. Shay, there is a feedback from your end. I'm here like an echo. But yeah, thank you so much. So yeah, you can beep them so that oh, I can see Comfort from Scotland. Nice. Thank you so much for joining, Comfort. So yeah, before we start, there's something we do before we start our community engagement. It's called Rep Your Program. So we want to know which program you finished from or which program you're currently on in our training, in your training with us. So in the comments box, tell us if you are repping BA or data analytics or DE or CS, so that we can know. FA, wow, that's nice. DA June cohort, that's nice. Okay, I can see some comments already. Shay is BA fan, so I'm sure Shay will be rooting for people from BA. I said CS, Oluwat Sheon, nice. Thank you so much for joining once again. DA, nice. Thank you so much for joining and for engaging. Before we start, I want you to put your favorite emoji. Mine is clap, so because we're going to start now. And before we start, because nice, I can see she do. All right, so we're going to start now. But before we start, we always try to just tell people who we are and why this event, because we have like several events, but why an alumni community event? But first off, who are we at Analytics? Analytics is an edtech company, and what we do is train people in technology skills and let them transition from the classroom to their very first tech job. And we've done that across UK, US, Canada, Europe, Africa, and Asia. So why this event? Why an alumni community event? So what we do at Analytics is that we don't just leave our students to go like that after the training or during the training. Try as much as possible to network them to a body of alumni. I mean, why just leave them without supporting them, without standing by them? And that's why we have this monthly alumni community event, to keep you up to date on what is expected in the field, and also to connect you with industry experts across various parts. So yeah, we're going to start with the next thing would be to let you know who is talking to you, right? You'll be hearing my voice, you'll be hearing Arafat Oseni. I'm the community manager at Analytics. Like I said, I have my amazing co-host with me, Shay, and he's going to introduce himself. My name is Arafat Oseni, and I'm the community manager at Analytics. I have experience in both civic tech and edtech, and I've engaged and managed communities with over 1,000 members across various platforms. I excel in driving engagements, creating meaningful connection, and also ensuring that my community members thrive in a supportive and dynamic environment. So please, a round of applause for me as the host, right? So I'll pass the mic to Sheyi, who would go ahead to introduce himself and also tell us what it is that we're going to do today. Yeah. Over to you, Sheyi.
Fantastic, Arafat. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
All right, thank you very much.
I was giving an applause to you earlier while you were introducing yourself because you indeed deserve an applause, Arafat. Great work you're doing, and
Thank you
it's
so
always
much, Sheyi.
and a delight to co-host or to do this with you. And I'm glad that I'm here again for the July's community engagement, alumni community engagement to be precise. My name is Oluwashe, your Debode, as you can see on the screen. Yeah, I'm that serious guy there you're staring at. But right now, I'm all smiley and I'm very happy and excited. It's Friday and I'm here with Arafat and importantly with our panelists to do this once again for the alumni community. I'm often referred to as significant Shay. There's a reason to that, but that's not what I want to bore you on right now. I'm a corporate event host and an astute moderator, having served for various events across various sectors, ranging from academics, government, tech, edutech, civil societies, non-governmental organizations, and many more. Right at Analytics, I work as a customer sales associate, and I have skill sets in sales, closing, customer service, etc. One thing that is not here right now on your screen is I also have a great skill when it comes to smiling. I hope I'm making someone smile right now and it's able to relieve you of your stress or give you some level of aspiration and all. And yes, today I'll be driving this conversation, very important conversation with my distinguished friend, Arafat. Now, let's talk about why we are here. It's a question for you. It's Friday. You probably could be anywhere else you choose to be. You could be in a social gathering. You could probably be in your bed, called up, rap. You could be attending to kids. You could be hanging out or about to hang, and so on and so forth. But there's an important question to ask yourself. Why are you here? Why are you here? And so for 4 reasons, I'm able to put in to 4 brackets some of the things we're going to achieve in the course of today's conversation. The first, Alpha has told us about analytics and why we're here. Number 2, which I'll be going quickly into, which is the bio of our panelists. Something brought us in here beyond the topic that we have to extrail in the course of the conversation. We're also seeing the industry leaders who will be sharing with us, who will be answering questions and sharing insights on this pertinent topic that we have. And then we're going to go into engaging them. And finally, there's also going to be the opportunity for you to ask your questions. So if you know you have any questions pertaining to this subject of discourse, you will get the opportunity to ask that question. You will want to stay through and even for some other offers and juicy information that we have for you. You know how we do it at Analytics. We don't carry last and we have loads and loads and loads of updates for you because we care for you and we have you in mind. So let's get the ball rolling quickly as we introduce our very first panelist for today. She's joined in a couple of minutes ago, no other than the delectable Bukola George. Bukola George is a seasoned HR leader with over 15 years of experience driving talent, performance, and transformation strategies in global organizations. She's currently a senior manager at Deloitte, Canada. Bukola is passionate about helping new immigrants thrive, drawing from her own journey. She's also the co-host of Career Diaries 406, a podcast that delivers real, unscripted career conversations. Bukola, if you can hear us, please just say hello. We'd like to hear your voice as a starter. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for
Hi,
Bukola.
can you hear me? I can hear you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Loud and clear. Please let's jam those hands together for Bukola George. I mean, she's also happy and prepped up to be here with us today. Yeah, and let's go to our next panelist, who is also here, Ejiro Ogumbajo. She's a seasoned HR executive and advisor with over 15 years of cross-sector experience driving strategic people initiatives that boost engagement, talent retention, and business growth. She's a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, FCIPR, Chartered Banker, ACIB, a certified coach and scrum master. She has earned multiple industry awards, including Upstate Cultural Awards and the NECA Employer Excellence Award. Ejiro has held leadership roles such as Chief HR Officer at ABAG, Vice Founders, and Chief Executive Officers. And she serves as Vice President of the SMP 92 Lagos Business School Alumni Association. She's recognized as one of Africa's top 1,000 career women. She's actively contributing through mentorship, boardrooms, and community outreach focused on women, teens, and tech. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's put our hands together for Ejiro Ogunbado. Ejiro, if you can hear us, please kindly unmute yourself and say hello, as we would like to hear your voice for the start.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good to be here.
Fantastic, Ejiro. Welcome.
Hello.
So you see, ladies and gentlemen, we are in for what will be a swell ride. We're having two seasoned HR professionals, HR executives. Fasten your seatbelts. Remember, brace up for the impact that's about to hit you like a bomb in the next couple of minutes. Over to my distinguished moderator, Arafat.
Thank you so much for that, Shay. I mean, it's quite important for us to have this session because we have distinguished guests and speakers all the way from Canada, and then Ejiro joining us with their distinguished portfolio of excellence. I mean, it's not easy to have 15 years of experience. It's coming from a place of knowledge, coming from a place of, hard work, and it's powerful for us to have amazing people join us today. So thank you so much, Bukola and Ejiro, for making today a date and honoring our call for this alumni session. So we'll start right away because we have like lots of people joined already, and then we'll continue the conversation as they are joining the session, right? So we'll go on to the next on our agenda, that is question and answer. I don't know if you can see me. At some point, I was seeing Bukola, but I'm not seeing her anymore. But yeah. Okay, hi Bukola, I can see her perfectly.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Hello, Ejiro. Hope you can hear me and see me.
Hi, Arafat.
Would have loved to put a
Yes,
face
I can
onto
hear
the.
you.
Would have loved to put a face to the name, but yeah, it's fine.
I can turn on my camera briefly. I don't know if you can see me now. My camera is on.
Yes, we can see you. Thank you so much for joining, Ejiro. Thank you so much. All right, so we'll begin this session, and because we are people of story and we love to hear like people's background and how they've worked their way through their career path. So the first question would be for both Ejiro and Bukola, and it would be to tell us briefly about your journey into HR and what led you into your current career path. So I'll start with Bukola, and then we'll pass the mic to Ejiro afterwards. So yeah, thank you so much for that.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, and thank you, Arafat and Shay, for having me here, and the entire Analytics team. Really glad to be here. I think some of my history or my background you already shared in the intro, but I'll just keep it very brief. I started my career in HR, over 15 years ago. I can't even believe that myself. It's, of course, started in the traditional HR path as a generalist, I would say, or what we would call then as officers. I think the name sort of evolved into generalist or advisors or sort of things like that. But I started off, doing a bit of playing, being in different teams within the HR value chain, or across the HR value chain rather. And as I grew in my career, I started to specialize. I would say it was deliberate in terms of me specializing. It was just more around what needed to, more like where my skills and competencies were most required on the team. So I started specializing in things around learning, leadership and development, performance management as well. And then that sort of went on, up until when I relocated. And then my current role is now where I specialize in performance management, and that's pretty much where I have, I'll say like my skills are becoming more and more evident in that space. And maybe for another foreseeable future, I find myself probably wanting to specialize more in things around performance management and all that. But outside of that, beyond my core HR role, I also do some other things that are very passionate for me, or I'm really passionate about, rather, is really helping people unlock their career and their potential. And that's one of the reasons why I also I co-lead Black Professionals Network here in Canada. I'm just really helping Black professionals up within Deloitte to really advance and grow their careers. As an immigrant, I know how difficult that can be, but just, it's a course that I find very close to my heart, and it's something that I also really spend my time doing. So beyond my core 9 to 5, I volunteer in a Black Professional Network and just doing some work that helps to grow and improve and advance the career of our Black professionals. So yeah, that was a bit about me and my journey so far, without, repeating what was already shared on my profile. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I mean, it's really inspiring to see how you found a way to harness what you have passion for, and then your current role in Canada. Thank you so much for sharing that. So we'll go on to Ejiro. Ejiro, the same question. Tell us your background, how you got into your current career path, and yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, and good evening, everyone, and thanks for having me. This is this is going to be interesting. So, 15 years summarized. I would say my journey has been very weird. Weird in the sense that I've always wanted to do HR. Backstory about that you can find somewhere on my LinkedIn profile. But yes, HR is something I've always wanted to do, and I'd pretty much worked all of my career trying to get into HR. So very particular about the schools that I went for, the certificates. Started out in consulting, interestingly in Deloitte, and then moved on to a number of other things. But funny enough, at some point, just from putting my hand up at work to solve problems, I started to get into other things. So first I was into software development and tech. And then worked with a team to set up our software engineering framework from my role in HR, and then started getting into product development, product leadership, and then Scrum and Agile development, all while sitting in HR. Went into customer success, business transformation and a number of things, strategy. And then at some point I was even doing sales and marketing and holding P&L for a major revenue line for the business. Again, all assisting in HR. So today I basically have very interesting skill sets. I walk into certain meetings, for example, and I'm talking about things, and everybody's like, "Oh, you must be so." I'm like, "No, I'm HR." And I was like, "No, you're not HR." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm HR." There's always that funny conversation that happens every time I have to engage. But for me, I believe that, what makes these skill sets interesting is that it sort of helps me be at that position where I'm able to align talent with purpose, with performance, and just to make sure that the business thrives. So regardless of the industry, I've then worked across multiple industries. Today I'm in banking. Before this, I was sitting between tech and payments infrastructure, and a company that had a switching license and a number of things. Before then, I was in telco. I've done non-profits. Across all of these industries, at the heart of what makes them thrive is that focus on people, on performance, on technology, on operations, and all the things that are just at the heart of the organization. And so just having those skill sets has helped to make sure that there's some balance, right? That helps employees, helps the business owners, helps, all of the different stakeholders arrive at a mutual beneficial point for everyone. But when I'm not doing work stuff, you find me with my teenagers. I work with a group of teenagers. I'm a faculty lead, so working with them to put together content capacity development around their goals, finding their foot in life, and just making sure that they start out as best as possible with the best foot forward. So we've all seen the Nepo Lapo story going on online, right? For me, regardless of where you fall, there are issues. And at that very young age, some of these teenagers are very impressionable. And it's really, they're just one step away from either ending up as a Yahoo boy or, on the other side, right? And if they have the right support, I strongly think that they'll make better decisions. So just being there to make sure that they're able to make structured and better decisions that help them arrive at a future that they can be happy at someday in the future is very key for me. So that's it about me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ijura. I mean, it's a total definition of full package. And yeah, I think Shay can relate more when you spoke about working in marketing, consulting, and it's great to connect with you. And I'm sure our alumni are really excited to connect with you. And they will definitely keep up the conversation. I mean, after this session. So right on the next thing, I'll start with Ejiro. So because the topic we're trying to, put out there today is talking about mastering salary negotiation. So this next question is, why do you think salary negotiation is such an important skill for professionals, especially in the tech space today? Where you can get a job today, and then you feel like what you're getting, oh, is good, it's cool, and then you get someone getting more than that, and you're like, how? Like, I have this set of skills also, so why am I getting underpaid at the end of the day? So why do you think salary negotiation, or why do you think mastering salary negotiation is such an important skill for professionals, especially in tech today?
Okay, thank you very much, Arafat. I mean, you started answering the question yourself. Yeah, that's why it's very important, because there's nothing that bonds. And please promise to use word bonds. There's nothing that bonds as much as finding out that 700K, for example, that you're very happy about, is actually maybe entry level salary, and maybe if you had sort of put in or positioned yourself better, you most likely have gotten something different. And sadly, the truth is, unfortunately, there are a number of institutions where you get what you ask for. So unfortunately, if you find yourself in any of those institutions, then that's what happens. There are a number of places where you have structured compensation systems where you know what the grade band for the role is, you know what the salary band for the role is. Typically, if I'm doing interviews, I'll from pretty much the first interview, for example, ask you what are you earning and what are you looking to earn? Particularly because if you are then above my band, then I'll be very transparent and say, oh, I'm sorry, what you're asking for is above my band. There's no point wasting your time and my time. We'll go through this, you do 5 levels of interviews or whatever levels of interviews, and then we'll get to the end and somebody will be offering you something less than what you're earning. And then somebody will not tell you, that funny thing when they tell you it's not about money. If it's not about money, what is it about, really? At the very minimum, the person who is getting that job should be able to put food on their table and advance whatever plans that they have. So if it's not going to be a win-win, and I've had situations where, so for example, I used to work in a holding company, within a good company, and I would have a very great candidate that I loved from the first interview. And because the particular company I was sitting in at that point did not have the compensation bandwidth to accommodate that role, I would say, look, we can't afford to pay you what you're looking out for, but I know XYZ company within the group is recruiting. Do you mind if I do an email introduction and push your CV along? And a number of people have moved on to other companies within the group just from those introductions. So yes, the truth is, sadly, you don't necessarily get what you, in quotes, what you feel like you're entitled to. It's usually what you ask for. And that's why that skill is such a very critical skill, because if you find yourself in a situation where someone isn't working with structured compensation benchmarks, you need to be able to ask for what you believe you are worth. And I'm very intentional about using that statement, you believe you are worth, because sometimes your definition of what you're worth and what the organization has set as the benchmark for that role may be slightly different. I'll pause here for now, and I'm sure there will be other opportunities to expatiate more on this as we go on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ejiro. I mean, that's an interesting way to start the conversation. And then we hear for Bukola. Bukola is coming from kind of, like I said, so I'm sure that there are different, how do I put it, perspective into the conversation and also what to expect. So the same question, Bukola, would be, why do you think that this is such an important skill, especially in the tech space today? You are muted.
I apologize. Thank you. Thank you, Rafa, for that question. And I really love what Ejiro said. Without, I think some of the things Ejiro already said, I'll say even sort of applies even within this climate. But I think for sure it's the tech space is, in fact, I don't know at what speed is it no it's really like it's advancing or going rapidly now, but clearly the tech space is advancing right before our eyes, and so many skills, so many roles are opening up and all of that. And if you don't know, like Ejiro said, I'm just going to piggyback on what she said. If you don't know your self-worth, if you don't know your worth, what you carry, what you can do, the results you can deliver, you will just you may be amassing all of these skills and values and everything, and really would not. And then when you get to that table of being able to negotiate, you really are leaving money on the table. So I think it's really important that, especially in this age, as things are really advancing, that you really are, it's important that you're constantly aware of what is obtainable within that industry, the kind of skill sets skill sets that you have, and what your contemporaries currently will get paid for, for that particular skill set that they have. So one thing for sure, it's if you do not speak, if you don't do your research, if you don't understand the skills you have, the value that you're bringing, and know your self-worth, you will leave money on the table. That's for sure. That's something that happens a lot, even like over here. I remember when my current role, not my current role, of course, I have moved roles now. But I remember when I first got my entry role into when I first got joined Deloitte Canada, and I remember when of course I just landed, I got an offer, it was all exciting and everything. I was so excited to even ask for more. I just went on with it like, oh my god. And then after the call, and I calmed down, and I like, okay, and I was like, okay, no, I think I was shortchanged. I just remember talking to a friend. I was like, nah. That's too small. Like, you should have asked for more. I started feeling bad. Like, maybe how will I go back? Would they take the offer back from me? That kind of stuff. But I'm like, you know what? If I don't ask, the worst case that will happen is a no, or they can't give you that. Why don't you just ask? And I asked. And I got more, even more than what in quote I had in mind, right? So typically this side will say, okay, give you a range. So you give a range, and then you be like, oh, but like this is like my max, but somewhere in between and everything. I actually got what I wanted. And I'm so glad I pushed back, because getting in and finding out what that range was, I didn't feel very bad about not, because if I had gone with that first offer, most times what we even tell people, like, right, like don't say yes on the first offer, like push back. Like push back for more, and because there's always more, trust me. And like Ejiro said, if it's truly like, oh, we really cannot go above that, but then we will not even have the conversation in the first place. That's how typically things work. So it's really important that it's a very key skill to have, because you will leave money on the table if you do not, learn this important skill and know how to negotiate for sure. So irrespective of climate, I think it still boils down to the same principles.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Bukola and Ejiro. I mean, it's great to also add your own bit of experience and how it all started from, and how it also affects the space that you had. So it's really important. I'll pass the mic to Sheyi, who will take over the question from here. Sheyi, over to you.
Thank you very much, Arafat and Bukola. Yes. I was going to mention something while Bukola was speaking, and it was because she reminded me about an experience. Sometime last year, I had an X space where I had conversation with some HR professionals, something around salary negotiation. And one of the stories I heard, which humbled me then, was there was a tech role a guy had applied for, and when he got to salary negotiation, because he was used to earning a particular salary, so he had to play around that range just a little bit, slightly higher. However, he was very good, competent, but he didn't get the job. And the feedback from the recruiting end would be that he had underpriced his value. Someone else would get it. Someone else got the job who had bargained for times 3 of what the other guy was playing with. And that was very humbling for me. And so this is going to lead me to the next question I want to ask. While you mentioned it, I believe you have many more insights you want to share. What are some of the mistakes professionals make while negotiating salary? So I'm going to start from Bukola, since Bukola just stopped speaking, and then we'll bounce it off to Ejiro. So Bukola, what are some of the mistakes professionals make while negotiating salaries? And if you could even share us more, you could let us know why. Why did they even make that mistake? Thank you.
So Okay, if I can take this from different angles, my personal experience, even doing recruitment and even things that have happened to me before. But I think first of all, I'll say not doing your research. Like you don't like. I think that's one mistake people make. Like don't go into any. Yes, you've brought your A game. You're a star. You're doing great. Have all the credibility and everything. Your current role, people even know you in the market. I know that is fantastic. But it gets opportunity, and you just go blindly without even doing basic research. Maybe it's maybe looking for people who or LinkedIn connections who have worked there or know someone that works there or someone who has been in that role. Or like it's such a small world, it's a global village. Like you can even just ask questions. But I think not doing enough research has really landed people in trouble about the company. And Glassdoor is there. Like Glassdoor is such a like it's really there's some I think Glassdoor you really will find a lot of information that you're looking for, right? In terms of how the role, the pay, and things like that. So I think not doing enough research, and it's really important that you do your research. Like I said, whether it's a LinkedIn connection, whether it's asking somebody that knows somebody that works there or something like that, that would really even help you to know, know how best to, conquer that and not make that mistake. Another thing as well, and just to Shei's point around underselling your value, I have seen that happen live in one of my roles, back when I was in Nigeria, where this person was so good, like so good, and the founder just said, how can she be asking for that amount? Like that is even an insult. And I'm like, okay, it's an insult. She made the mistake. Well, you found out, okay. And it was like, no, I don't think so. If she doesn't understand the value and what she's coming to do, then she'll come and under deliver. And I was like, okay, I never saw it that way before. Like I never would have linked that, like, okay, but that's true. That was his perspective, that if you understand the role I'm bringing you to do, yes, you have this skills, but you will not come and tell me is what you want to earn. So, Shay, to your point, that really happens. And I think understanding your value, and I think maybe we'll get to that in the course of discussions, but I think one of the ways, like, how do you really, sometimes you can even be in a space where, in quote, you feel like you're not, maybe they're not appreciating your value and all that, but you need to know what exactly is like the value that you are bringing. If you have to like engage industry experts or engage your colleagues and sort of like level set, see what they are doing, that helps you to just validate that, okay, no, I know my stuff, I know what I'm doing. Because just in case you are in a space where you are not, probably appreciated, and it's probably making you not really appreciate your value, having those conversations with people around you in your industry, your colleagues and everything will help you just, probably help you validate and remember and understand what your value and what you are bringing to the table, and can help you negotiate better. I think the second thing I probably would mention, the third thing I also say before I just, wrap up here on these questions for now would be not, also like, I'm not an advocate of sharing your current salary. So when you're asked what your current salary is, I would turn the question around and say, what's your budget for the role? Because sometimes when you share your current salary, it sort of, in quotes, already puts that, like it can work and it may not work, that kind of thing. I don't want to sell yourself short. If, for example, you say, oh, I'm earning, I'm just giving an example now, let's say 100,000 naira, what I'm currently earning, and the company can go up until like maybe they can't consist to even starting salary is even like 300,000. They will think they're doing you a favor if they offer you 200,000, and you will be like, oh my god, I got double of what I was earning before. Meanwhile, you didn't even scratch the surface. And I think Adriel mentioned that point at the beginning as well. So I think when you are asked what you're looking at, please be, after you've done your research and all of that, try to avoid sharing your current salary, and just share maybe like, oh, what's your budget for the role? And then they share their budget for the role, can tell them that this is the range you're looking at after you've done your research. So that's the thing that I'll say, mistakes and how you can probably overcome those mistakes when you are in that position.
Thank you very much. I mean, that was very brilliant. And I picked three things from what you mentioned before I go real quick back to Ejiro. You mentioned the first, lack of research. So that has been one of the biggest challenges professionals make. Number two, underpricing their value. Very important. And thirdly, I love the perspective you brought to it. So rather than telling what your current salary is, it's better you push the question back to the recruiter and let them know what is the budget for the role. I hope we're taking note of these things. These are very important nuggets. Funny, some of these things may sound very simple because they are simple, but many people miss even the simplest things of life. So it's important we take note of that. Now let's hear from Ejiro. Ejiro, let's get into us. What are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen professionals make when it comes to salary negotiation? Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, I think Bukola has covered most of it. When you put two senior HR professionals in the room, chances are that we're going to have seen a lot of the same things. So as again, speaking to just the biggest mistakes, I think that I'd like to speak more to why do professionals make those mistakes? Because if you don't sort of look at the root cause, we will keep making those mistakes. So for example, flip the question back at them. When you flip it back at them, if the recruiter says, well, put you in a spot, and I've seen that happen before, and says, I really need to know this, what then happens? If you're not clear on your why, I think that at some point you would tap out, right? And then negotiation is gone. So I would say, why do professionals make these mistakes? First is I think a lot of people negotiate emotionally. And that's why they say the best time to look for a job is not when you need a job. Because when you're looking for a job, at that point, you are already disadvantaged. You're already either very worried about, I really need this job. I really want to leave that my toxic environment. I really want. And then you're either going to be open to taking a pay cut or, this or that. And your negotiation is already flawed from the beginning. So just be clear about planning your career moves as best. We don't always have that luxury, but where you have that luxury, periodically just go out and test yourself. Not because you're looking for a job, but a recruiter hits you up on LinkedIn. Try to see whether you can see where that conversation can go, have an idea what the industry is saying, what they're doing, and always keep your network warm. So even when you have to go into salary conversations, you're going from a position of confidence as against, I'm really desperate. And sometimes that desperation is what others see, and they then try to capitalize on that. So that's the first level. The second is not going in with enough information. So everyone is always about the I'm earning 100K. If I see a job that gives me 200K or whatever, I should be fine. But we haven't really mapped the 100K in quotes that we're earning. So I'll give a typical example. Someone close to me recently got a job. Before now, every time a person gets a job, the person would share their offer, and then say, I have this offer, and I'll take the time review and give the person some feedback, and help with, just negotiate. I think you should ask for this, or do you realize that if you get this, yes, it looks like they're paying you higher, but in this place where you're in, this is how comprehensive your HMO is, this is that. So either you negotiate and you make sure that those benefits are clearly spelled out in the new offer that you're getting, so that you're not shortchanging yourself and whatnot. So this time around, for whatever reason, this person got a new job. I don't know whether it was out of excitement or what, so this person accepted the job. And then resumed that, then called me and started complaining. Hey, I just got this new job. Resume. Can you imagine? They said there's no driver, there's no this, there's no. The first thing I said was, please, why did you call me? Like, why would you just go and accept this offer without bringing it? Or at least doing the check, even if you don't want to bring it to me, because you feel like my own wala is too much. Sure, you already know what I always do, because I'll typically get the person's current offer and get their new offer, put it on a spreadsheet and do a map for map. So sometimes when you see people making those mistakes and accepting all sorts, it's not necessarily because in their minds, they've gotten a good offer. But let's break it down. Where you are now, they give you free lunch. Where you are now, your HMO plan is a premium plan. You get private room, you get annual medical check built in, you get this, you get that. You have a car and a driver, or they give you 4 vouchers, or they give you whatever. And then you get this other job. It offers you, even if it's, let's say, ₦1 million difference. But then every single thing you're paying for is from your pocket. Oh, and by the way, this new job that you just got is on the island. Your former job was on the mainland. You were living on the mainland. So now you're paying for costs in 1,000. How much is for today? 980 something or whatever the cost is. So in essence, you've gotten more money, but you've gotten way less value. So first, is a major why is negotiating emotionally in terms of just being desperate. And then another major why where I've seen people make mistakes is because they go in looking at naira and kobo only and forgetting that your salary is really a function of a lot of other things. Thank you.
Brilliant. Wow. I love that. I thought you were speaking, and I love your conclusion because you got me glued. I was listening to you, and until you told me thank you, I was like, oh my God, please continue. That's brilliant. You heard that out of desperation that can come in, and also people thinking that salary is just all about naira and kobo. It is not. I'm very certain because I'm adding value on this conversation so far, and I also believe that our audience, our distinguished alumni, are also taking note of these things because they're going to find it applicable regardless of the current path or current stage where they are. So Alpha is going to come in right now, and we have a very quick icebreaker, and Alpha will introduce us to this icebreaker, and thereafter we're going to continue with the other questions that we have. This is still the alumni community engagement, and we are having this on mastering salary negotiations and expectations. So let's stay tuned as Alpha takes us in our icebreaker.
Thank you so much, Shay, for this. We have a question in the chat box. We're going to take that after we finish questions with our guest speakers. But before we go, like Shay said, we have a little icebreaker, and it's for our two panelists. So I'm going to say the word salary. I'm going to mention word for word, like S, A. We are going to tell us one thing that comes to your mind. So I'm going to say Ejiro S, Bukola S, Ejiro A, and you're going to tell us one. You can't think about it, right? You're going to tell us one word that comes to your mind. The last time we played this game, so we had someone that was saying a word that was not meant to be said because that was the first occasion, like food, because she's hungry. but yeah, that's the icebreaker. So I'm going to start. Opa already, Ejiro, Bukola. We have to unmute our mic so that we don't have to think about it.
Yes, sir.
So I'll start with Ejiro, right? 3, 2, go. Ejiro S.
Salvation.
Bukola S.
Soul.
Bukola A.
Apple.
Ejiro A.
Achievements.
Bukola L.
Love.
Bukola A.
No, Ejiro.
What? Anthony.
Ejiro L.
Land.
Ejiro A.
I'm a boy.
Ejiro R.
Rich.
Bukola R.
Rice.
Ejiro Y.
You got.
You are taking us to food though. Bukola Y.
Your net.
All right. Thank you
It's
so
someone's name.
much.
Trust me. It's someone's name. Trust me.
All right, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for the engaging icebreaker. So we'll go on to the next thing. I know Ejiro has mentioned other benefits, but I also want to ask, and I would like Bukola to also speak on that. And it would be to ask you that, is it okay for someone to negotiate a non-financial, other non-financial package, say benefits like Ejiro mentioned, or say flexibility or learning budgets, and how do someone bring that up in salary negotiation?
Thank you. Thank you, Arafat. And yeah, like you said, Adrian already touched on it, but by all means, I feel that you can negotiate these things. I've also been in that situation before where I negotiated certain non-monetary benefits where I wasn't getting the actual, like the fine, I got an increase, but there's something that was even on the table, right? So I used those non-monetary benefits to make up for it, and I got them. So I think yes, it is. I feel like you should explore those things. So, for example, if they do, maybe let's say it's a hybrid, work structure, and then like, you have to come in twice a week, or you can say, okay, can I do how about I do maybe twice a week or something, or once a week or something of that sort. Like, for me, it's I think overall, and I'll just stress to maybe I'll break down some of the other things I can negotiate. But I think overall, always tie it to, that it's going to help you deliver a better outcome. Like, don't look at it from a lens of like, like maybe you're not coming from a place of, you're not giving me this amount, or I'm leaving this from my previous or current organization and you guys don't have it, so I'm not going to come. So don't approach it from that sense of pride or ego or something of that sort, but just more from like, okay, this is what helps me deliver a better outcome and has worked for me. I was able to do this, maybe my current role, and I was able to achieve this, and they're going to be like, and it will help me if I can continue in that light or something of that sort. So I feel like if you come from that lens, it's something what the recruiter may not be able to give you an answer right there and then, but again, once your value has been well communicated, they've seen your value, they see that it's something you want to, it's something you can bring up or value you can add. Most likely they will go back and speak to the hiring manager or the leader and try to see if they cannot meet all the demands, at least there will be some kind of compromise, where both parties it's okay for that person. But by all means, I think feel free to negotiate, other non-monetary things. AGO talk about HMO for sure. Like I remember one of my roles where I negotiated that the standard, plan was one that, how you don't have access to certain hospitals, you cannot do so. And I had a hospital I was not going to store. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't change this hospital. Like, I have to continue here. And somehow they made it work. Like, I don't even know how they did, but they actually made it work. And for me, I continued that way. And so I think those things are non-negotiables for you, or just things that that will just bring more comfort, to you. Whether it's even learning opportunities as well, or maybe access to be able to sometimes even opportunity to be able to do your own personal thing. So some people actually have a side hustle or side gig, and it could be that, okay, I need maybe more flexible hours or something, or can I take up this, continue to I run this business on the side, can I continue to do that? It's not going to impact on what my work or anything. I'll continue to deliver, but I need to also be able to focus on, it could be it spans across whatever matters to you, and that are things that you would love to benefit from, whether it's a learning opportunity, maybe you want to attend a high profile or high yield conference that aligns to your career field. You can talk about that as well. Where I was living or where I'm coming from, I'm entitled to attend a conference every year. Is that possible? They say no. That's not negotiable for me. I want to continue to ensure that I'm kept up to date, connect with people, those kind of things. I think for sure, I feel like it's something that people should explore. Of course, I know all of these things is sweet to say, but again, understand where you're going to, who you're speaking to, and see what can work. Sometimes you just be as little as maybe, okay, can I negotiate the hybrid structure, and then that will be okay for you. So yeah, I do feel that without overflogging it, I think it's something that I encourage people to do and should take advantage of.
Thank you so much for that, Bukola. I mean, one thing I picked from what you say is how one should focus, especially early starters in the career, should focus on the outcome and not just ego. It's not a give and take something.
Yeah.
It's about, give and then my own outcome, how I'm also going to give you also. So thank you so much for that. So I'll move on to Ejiro. And then the question is going to tilt around the second conversation in our discussion tonight, which is around career positioning, right? What does career positioning mean to you in today's context where it is very competitive? I mean, our alumni, our students they can testify to how competitive it is out there. Even before a role is being put out, there are people out there that are already, targeting how to pick on the role. So what does career positioning mean to you, and how can someone position oneself to a career path? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So there are two ways you can look at career positioning, and a few years ago, my response would have been the standard, make sure that you're visible, make sure that you're doing good work and people know about your good work and all of those things. But today we've seen an increasing number of empty content, right? So thanks to ChatGPT and everything, everybody's an expert. Everybody, like I'm a data leader, but I have 1 year experience. And I'm a technology expert, but I've just worked for only 6 months, right? That sort of thing is very prevalent. And I think that at a time, maybe about 3-4 years ago, people could get away with that. These days it's very difficult. From a number of things, from the HR perspective, there are a lot more scientific assessment tools. I remember a few years ago when things like I'm trying to remember names now, but you had all of these coding tests, and like it was not just I can code, I can write. Yeah, no, you could actually get onto platforms that would, assess whether you can actually write these codes. You would have life assignments where you are pushing things to repo, or you're just even working them. So you have a take home, and then you come back and you're having a technical interview where you're taking people through what you actually did. And for them, it's not the fluidity of the code, it's the logic of how you're thinking, because from your responses, they can then tell whether you really understand this thing and whether you can really do this. And if push comes to shove and the days when tension is high and work needs to be pushed out, can you really still deliver under pressure? So all of those things today they're now basic, they're now pretty much in every organization, which means that people's ability to BS their way through conversations in the name of positioning is no longer the way it used to be before. So I'll say, even before we get to positioning, let's even be very clear about the fact that if you are going long term, and career conversations are, as they say, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, right? It's long term, it's not immediate. You've seen all those funny videos on TikTok or wherever where they say, my first day at work, after I told them I could speak French, or I was whatever thing, and then they're very funny. But the people will actually show up at work that way because they have, in quotes, career positioned in that way, and then they get in and they can't live up to that expectation. I think my first step with career position would actually be making sure that you have the skills that you say that you have. And please don't be afraid or under pressure to build. So you've had a lot of people, looking at, I'm very pleased to announce that on LinkedIn. And because of that, they're like, life is going. When will I do my own announcement? So they start to, make up their, leave that pressure, live that life, right? First and foremost, build. Be sure of the competencies that you have, right? And continue to invest in yourself. So 10 Analytics, for example, is one way where you have all of these programs, you're investing in yourself. But then as you then now invest in yourself, be open to sharing your work. I'm not open to sharing your work in an empty barrels make the loudest noise type sharing, because some people do that. They just, you are doing this project, when you finish, they come and help people full stop, and they're like, I'm glad to announce that today I was part of the team that built on top of one full step that they added to the work that was already complete, right? Not that kind. But when you do stuff and you do good work, in your next one-on-one with your line manager, so for example, if it's internal career positioning, have a conversation to say, this project that I worked on with this department or this or that, I did this, I did that. What do you think I can have done differently? What do you think about the quality of my work? I'm a C-suite executive today. I'm a CHR of a bank. But when I have conversations with my line manager, at the end of the conversation, I always ask, do you have any feedback for me? So I've taken the time to talk about the work that I have done, but I also ask if, and that's a good way to just sense check whether you're positioning properly. And for outside conversations, it's things like sharing your experiences, not just only your wins, but even when you make mistakes, even when you have fears, a number of those things. So I used to be afraid of XYZ, but then I did so and so. I used to be so worried about data. Then I signed up for this program, and now I'm excited to go on this journey to learn. But just being intentional about sharing those lessons and learnings as you go on. And then ultimately stay adaptable, because sometimes you think you're positioning for a certain kind of career, or maybe there's a particular role that you have in mind, but then the opportunities that come your way come slightly differently. Do you then walk away from it because it doesn't come packaged the way you want it to be? I don't think so. I'm a very big fan of, when those opportunities come, explore them, see where the road takes you. So if it's, for example, an interview opportunity that then comes your way, have the interview, make sure you keep or have a good impression during that conversation, and then stay in touch afterwards. You built a network that I've turned down a job, and then 2 years later, somebody has come to say, oh, madam, you're not available there, no, but we'll still like to work with you. Would you still like to work for us? I'm like, why not? What am I doing? And then, I go on to join the organization, right? Because I turned down that opportunity because I had some a family limitation, so to speak, at that time, and it would not have made sense to be able to take on that role. But by the time we're having this conversation 2 years after, I was actually having a baby, but by the time we're having the conversation 2 years after, my son was, was a year plus, things were much. So, I mean, I was very happy to then have that conversation. So, of course, when you make those career positioning moves, also remember that the response you get from the universe, in quotes, may not appear as what you initially positioned for. But if you are patient, if you are clear about what you want, eventually those opportunities will open up, either in those specific places or in other places that expose you to areas that you didn't even know that you had skill sets for. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ejiro, for that. That was a comprehensive response to the question, and it's really amazing the way you've answered it. I mean, it's also preach what we say at Analytics. We see our CEO, always emphasize on competence over credentials. We see thousands of people might have the same credentials that you have, the same certification, but your ability to also put your foot down there and also show that, it's not only on paper, I can also show my work. You can show workings, right? And that's what you've also emphasized on while you were explaining that. So I'll give the mic over to Shay and you pick the conversation on with Bukola. Thank you so much, Ejiro.
Fantastic, Arafat and Ejiro. Thank you. So, I saw a hand raised some minutes ago. I wanted to mention we're going to get to the section where you'd have the opportunity to ask either Ejiro or Bukola your question. Okay, so when we get there, we'll let you know. So please, you could just hold on. When we get to that time, you would have the opportunity to speak on it. And one of the important question I would have asked Ejiro, which he has already responded to, was how people can share their unique value, all right, during this. But I'll just go to the next, and I want to speak and put this question to Bukola. So Bukola, in what are key strategies that one can use to build visibility within an organization or industry? Visibility within an organization or industry. Key strategy we can have. And trust me, I just checked the time. We're about 55 minutes into this call, and I was like, oh my God, when did we start this conversation? But one beautiful thing about HR people, they are people interfacing. They are always people related, and with one conversation and the other, we've already used 55 minutes. So let's hear from Bukola real quick. So key strategies you think professionals can use to increase their visibility in an organization or within a specific industry. Thank you. You're muted. You're muted again.
Apologize, please. Okay, thank you for that question. And I think Ejiro, and I really love what Ejiro said. After you have built, so let me start from where Ejiro started. Like after you have built competence and just done your groundwork and deepened your skills and everything, in building visibility, I think for sure, and I wasn't used to that. I like to share a lot about my own experience, so it's more relatable. I wasn't used to, in quotes, speaking up or being comfortable sharing my achievements and things like that. But when I relocated, it's like the modus operandi here. If you don't speak, nobody knows what you are doing, and honestly, you won't get promoted. You won't even get any form of raises. Like people that speak the most and say what they do are the ones that get the good stuff happen to them. So one of the ways that I'll say, or strategies that I'll say I've put into perspective is, aside the fact that I have my own like I have what I call like my bragging list, in quotes. I have something I just have like personal of obviously I don't like I put it anywhere I see the bragging list, but I call it my bragging list. And then I all the key things that I did in the course of the year or that fiscal year rather for my organization, I note it down and just try to put it up when I'm having, so that when I'm having a mid-year or a check-in or something, or I have an agreement with a leader, I can just speak about those things easily without having to rack my head about it. So, but for sure, that's one thing for sure that I do that works for me. I have a bragging list. I keep all of those things there. Secondly, is also I networking, and I'm saying this networking in relation to visibility, because you can be doing all of these great things, but if you are not deliberate about building your network, even within your organization, like engaging other teams, what they are doing, knowing one or two people here, especially if you work in a large organization. I work in an organization with about over 16,000 people, employees. And obviously, you can imagine, you can really just get lost and not even get noticed or anything. So deliberately building your network in other, spaces and with key people in those spaces. I'm not saying you have to go leak as quick act or leak as or eye service and all those kind of. I'm not saying that, but strategically building relationships with people that matter, in quotes, within in across the organization and different other areas. That way, and constantly engaging, they were able to tell probably what new projects are taking on, and you've already like, oh, I've done this before in my current role or something, I would like to be a part of it, or oh, putting your hand up for those those new things. For example, Ejiro said something that she's been able to, when she's talking about her background, said she had a couple of exposures to so many other areas, outside, and even though she was sitting down in HR. And I'm sure that would have required some kind of networking, some kind of maybe being in meetings, or and it's just of what you've done before. You were in some meetings, heard about something, put your hand up, and you got involved in those kind of things. So I think that's how you build, I think that's one of the ways to build visibility. So number one, have that list where you're like, you're documenting all of the things that you're achieving. Secondly, is strategically building network with people, like with key people, or with at least people where you know that they will add value. You can learn from them, get some insight from them, and that way they're able to expose you or let you know what opportunities are available and all of that. And sometimes it could even come from maybe a project just gets thrown open to everyone, like, oh, who would be interested? Don't be confident, and be confident, to want to learn new things. Like, you would be adaptable, like Ejiro mentioned. Don't just, oh, this is what I want to do, and because it doesn't look like it, I'm not going to bother. If you feel like I've done something similar to this, you never can tell where that new project will just take you to, or what new skill you're going to learn from being a part of that project. So don't close up on, oh, it's not what I want to do, I'm not interested, I'm not doing this. I'm not saying just take on any project for just taking it up sake, but sometimes as well, those things that you're not familiar with or used to could just be the next point, that what would just, sort of like, give you that great visibility that you've been looking for. So that's what I would say. Obviously, the other things I'll just mention will be around, obviously, continue to network, outside your organization, with other colleagues or other people that are outside of your space. Just see what's going on, within outside of your space. And as you engage in these meaningful activities, you can also maybe at some point just put out what you do, or put out your thoughts around what you think about the situation. Maybe I'm not a huge LinkedIn writer, like, honestly, LinkedIn sometimes frightens me myself, but I found that sometimes, commenting on people's posts, based on your experience, what you've done before, short comments, but maybe tying it to what you've done before, right? And shows that, oh, I've had experience. This is how I went about it. Also shows you, also create some kind of visibility, and make sure, like, oh, this is someone that we should start watching out for or listen to in this particular field. So, honestly, anyway, I think to wrap it all up, you can't keep quiet about it. You have to put it out there, like, let people know what you're doing, like, and it's not being proud. You actually need to put it out there and talk about what you've done and what you're doing.
All right. Thank you very much, Bukola. Brilliant take, and I love that. Two summaries. Number one, the first is you need to know how to toot your own horn. You are good. We know it. No one is just going to come meet you and are trying to examine how good you are. You need to be able to sell your value and position yourself as that. Make a list, like she mentioned, which is something she does. Make a list about the value you offer and be able to talk about it. And also strategically network. Meet people. Very, very important. Thank you very much, Bukola, for that. I'm just going to give it to Arafa, so we pick it on from there and go on. And by the way, if you have a question, please, you can put it in the comment section. I'll put my eyes peeled on it so I can be able to grab that and share with our panelists. Over to you, Arafat.
Thank you so much for that, Shay. And thank you, Bukola, for staying on till now. We know you told us that you had at least 2 times to spend with us. So thank you for staying till now. And we are wrapping up. This is the final question, I promise. We won't take much of your time again. Thank you so much, Ejiro. So to wrap up the conversation, I'll just go to Ejiro, and it would be that what final piece of advice would you give to someone that is preparing for an interview or someone that is currently negotiating salary? I can see a question around that in the chat box. We'll go to that. So what piece of advice would you give someone that is currently preparing for an interview and thinking about repositioning their career, right? And then in one word, what is your how do I put it? What is the most exciting thing that you want to leave people that join the session with? One word. So the first one is your final piece of advice for anyone, and then to wrap it up, one word that you want to leave us with in the session.
Okay, so I had someone chuckle because even I was like, one word. Okay, but okay, so before I answer your question, please permit me. I want to layer two things to what Bukola said. I hope that's fine.
Go ahead. Yeah.
One of the things that and everything I said is perfect and correct. Like I said, I just want to add two things. Number one, please, as part of your networking and everything, be a good human being. Most people think that networking is, the guys at the top, the CEO here. I've gotten jobs and referral opportunities that came from people who were junior colleagues. Like, I like the gap between us was wide, but then somebody was having a conversation somewhere. Somebody said, there's this my former Oga in something, and I got called into those rooms and those opportunities came through. So first, be a good person. And I'm saying be a good person because that would then mean whether the person is junior, senior, whoever, someone should actually be able to say something good about you. Yeah. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is when she also spoke about, and thank you, Bukola, for being very practical. When she talks about, sharing your experiences, interestingly, I'm also not a very big LinkedIn person. In my head, I was seeing Arafat. So we now invited you, and you didn't even try to go out there and write anything about us. So I had to package myself. And then because I had a normal speaking engagement, I was like, don't worry, I'll just join all of you together. Let me confess, I post, and that's what I did because I'm not really a good fan of being out there and whatever. And I struggle with that, and I imagine that a number of people who are introverts will struggle as well. So there's something someone told me when I shared this gap, about visibility, and that's not me. I really just like to focus on doing my work and move on. But the person said, okay, you can't do LinkedIn up here. I said, yes, I'm doing like LinkedIn. But it's always so pretentious. Okay, starts with WhatsApp. And so,
Yeah.
it sounds funny, but when I thought about it, really, who's on my WhatsApp? Ex-colleagues, current colleagues, some seniors, except that's why I started by saying be a good human being. Because when you're a bad person, you first block the whole Nigeria. So who will see your status of this, right? But when you're a good person, at least you can be free to post on your WhatsApp. And then there are a few speaking engagements that come because you posted that, I spoke somewhere. Somebody's like, so this person has sense like this. Okay, don't worry. Next time, when we have an event, we'll invite you. And it just opens up other opportunities. So yes, baby steps can be WhatsApp, right? And then you can go into other platforms. Now, to the question that you asked me in terms of my final piece of advice for anyone preparing for interviews, salary negotiations, just basically thinking about repositioning their career, my response would be that first, try and prepare. I know that sometimes we like to wing it, and all, but nothing beats preparation. And preparation is not just about maybe researching the company. Bukola spoke extensively about the whole researching thing. It's not just that. For some people, preparation is also praying. So if you're a faith-based person and you'd like to pray about it, and it centers you and sort of settles you so you can then approach those conversations with confidence, then please, by all means, do that. For some people, it's getting a camera and recording themselves and practicing, their eye movements, their everything, so that they appear very coordinated. For some people, it's your outfit, because once that outfit is off, it starts to affect their confidence and everything else goes downhill from there. So be particular, make sure. So for some people, it's making sure that the routes, for example, if it's a physical interview, the routes, the details, and you are early, you're on time, so you are not rattled. Whatever preparation means for you, You know your weaknesses better than anyone else. Prepare for it. Know your story, know your value, know your market. So if you have a back sheet, like Bukola mentioned, it helps. At least know the average HR person will start every interview the same way. Tell us about yourself. By now, you should know how to tell us about yourself in a very cohesive way, where you're talking about your wins, your contributions, and just a little bit about yourself to help us know that you're not a robot. So some people, their own version of tell us about yourself is everything on their CV. How has that helped the hiring manager feel like this is somebody I can work with, right? When you get interview invites, sometimes you find that they've left the names of the other panelists in the email invites. Google them, check them out on LinkedIn, look at what you have in common. Oh, I see you're an alumni of so and so. It just helps to break the ice and make you more rememberable, if there's a word like that. And then, of course, remember that careers are not sprints. So please be kind to yourself. Even if you miss an interview opportunity or whatever it is today, be truthful enough to know what you should have done better, but don't wallow in self-pity and just stay there and oh, everybody hates me, village people are after me, and then you can't get up and move on. Speak your truth to yourself, but then get up and keep moving. Remember, every interview, conversation, interaction is a chance to learn, position, go. Even if you don't get the job, no problem, another one will come. But at least make sure that you're better for it. And then finally, I would say, be intentional, right? You are your greatest asset. There's a book that I love talking about when I have career conversations. It's called The Startup of You. It's written by Reid Hoffman. I would really encourage everyone to read it. You are your own, the CEO of Arafat and Daughters or Arafat and Sons, right? So what you want for yourself, when you go into those conversations, imagine that you're going to negotiate $1 billion contract for yourself and go with that kind of big energy, right? Go in there with, I know this is my space, this is my, even if it's an aspirational role, okay, I'm aspiring to this, okay, no problem, let's go, let's talk about it. And then when you back yourself, the world has a way, or things around you just has a way of coming back to settle into that point where you get what you're really looking out for. So thank you. It was just a word, I may have to do a word, but I hope that with these few words of mine in debate.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Ejiro. I mean, our alumni are asking for the name of the book. If you want to repeat that once again before we go to Bukola.
Okay, I'll drop it in the chat, but it's called The Startup of You by Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for that, Ejiro. So Bukola, I mean, Ejiro has dropped a mic for you. So So yeah, the closing question would be, your final piece of advice, something that you want to leave our alumni and students with. And then I also want to hear one word. Adrian, I was able to be intentional. Intentional is the word I'm taking on my side. So Bukola, over to you.
Okay, so the final piece of advice would be, and all wrapped up in my one word, would be own your career. And I think Adrian just mentioned that just before she wrapped up her final thoughts. But it's a word that I love to use a lot. Like, it's something, and it has just stuck with me. Like, and that's how I navigate my career. Own your career. So even all of this we're talking about, whether it's your negotiating, whether it's positioning yourself, creating visibility, and just everything still starts on how you treat. Yeah, like Ejiro said, Arafat and Daughters and Co, Arafat and Co, or something like that. How you just think of yourself as the organization, as the company, as the corporate body. How would you want that body to succeed? How would you want your organization to succeed? How do I want Bukola George to succeed in this organization that I found myself in? And then that way, looking at it from that lens, from yourself first, that self-reflection, and then that then translates into how you then approach everything about your career. Nobody come and hand these things over to you, as in nobody. It is you, yourself, and yourself. And again, of course, you're a faith person. I think that's even, maybe that's something that would be helpful as you just pray, meditate, and just ask God to direct you into what you need, so you don't make any mistakes. But honestly, it is your career, and you need to take ownership of it. Nobody will come and tell you, like, who can do it for you. Really, it's all lies in your hands, honestly. And I think that would be my final thoughts for this session.
All right, thank you so much for that, Bukola. Before you leave, we're going to the question and answer. We'll just take, I think, Omalara hand is up. To take Omalara's question and take a question in the chat, but Shay will drive that. But also, before you leave, Bukola, I know you mentioned about podcast, and I also want you to speak about your podcast and what you do in your own space so that people will get to connect with you. And we'll also share Ijiro's LinkedIn bio and Bukola's LinkedIn bio in the community so that they can also network with you, follow you, and keep up with the good work that you do. So, yeah. Shay, over
Thank
to you.
Okay. Okay. Do you want me to talk about podcast or?
Bukola, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you, Arafa, for bringing that up. Yes. I do co-host a podcast with my with a friend of mine who also we started our HR careers together and all of that. But it's called Career Diaries 406 podcast. I'll put the link in the chat. But we speak everything around real life unscripted career conversations, and and it's not just centered to Canada alone, even though we talk a bit about like working in Canada and things like that, but even we just try to also around various areas of various aspects of career conversation. So yeah, you can please connect with me there, catch up on any of the episodes right there. We try to publish an episode every Thursday. We have a new episode being published, so you can check it out. And I'd love to connect with you also on. And I think Alpha will also share my LinkedIn bio. I'd love to connect with you and just you can set up a coffee chat with me. We can have more conversations. I would love to connect with you. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Bukola. Yeah, very kind and thoughtful of Arafat to allow you mention that, so people could also know more about the beautiful things that you're talking about. In the comment section, someone is asking about the name. She mentioned it earlier, career podcast 406, if I'm not mistaken, but she mentioned she will put it in the chat box for you, so we can put in that. So just quick comment before I yield the microphone to Omolara. Omolara would want to speak. Hand has been raised since, but yeah, we can see Desi Michelle saying thank you for all the insights and tips you've shared today. And I also picked Evelyn's comment. Evelyn mentioned, thank you so much, dear Ejiro and Bukola, for sharing so much, emphasis on sharing so much. So yeah, over to you. If you can hear me, Omolara Akomu, please kindly unmute yourself, particularly if you are in an environment that is conducive for you to speak. Please unmute yourself and you can speak within the next couple of seconds. Thank you. Omolara, are you here? All right, while I'm waiting for Molara, if she's not here, we have Evelyn or Larry Waju. Evelyn, could you unmute yourself and ask your question? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies. I actually eventually wrote the question. I'm just going to read it now. So Ejiro answered when she started, when a recruiter is asking, insisting on what the current salary is. I've been in that situation before. And tell you the truth, my current salary at that time was terrible. And they insisted. Yeah, I told them, that was 2023. I told them, what do you want to pay? They wouldn't move forward until I have to answer that question. And I wouldn't want to lie. So what do you say? I answer and not give myself up, because to say the truth, the role I'm looking at going to now has nothing to do with what I'm doing currently. And so I wouldn't want them to base what they want to pay me on what I'm doing currently, because I have added so much value and all that. Thank you.
Ejiro, would you want to take it from here to respond to our question, or Bukola?
Okay, I can start, and Bukola can share. That's a very tricky place to be in, to be honest. And I do know that, I mean, that's something that because has asked. I know I've asked that sort of question as well. And when I ask, I always put a caveat as to why I ask. It's not a determinant of what you eventually earn. I started asking that question after a few interesting experiences. And I mean, when you've done 15 years, there's a number of experiences that you would have seen. So there are a number of people that we've hired, and they've joined the organization, and then 3 months after, someone is telling you they want to move on. And then you have that, I mean, you're constantly checking in, so you know that they were good, right? And then you're wondering, so why are you moving on? And you now hear, oh, well, Actually, where I was coming from was a very toxic place. I really just wanted to leave, and I was open to taking anything. And then this job came up, and the salary matched my expectation. Well, it was something that was comfortable enough for me to move on, so I took it. But it's really been a pay cut being here. And so now I've seen something better. I'm going to miss this place. I'm going to this, I'm going to that. But then they need to go. And I'm always like, that transparency from the beginning would have really helped. And it won't, cause I mean, you might as well, it's in everyone's interest when you're from the beginning, you're very clear about what you will not take, as against taking something and then you then realize that, oh, okay, now that I'm here and I'm comfortable and I'm out of that madhouse that I was running away from, let me now start to look for, in quotes, something that can pay me what I'm looking out for. So I'm very sure I tell people, I'm like, this is why I'm asking. It has nothing to do. I just want to be sure that whatever it is that you are asking, or whatever it is that we are going to put on the table, because eventually when they say, tell me what you like to pay, and you say, they'll say it's okay. But then somebody comes in and then they not tell you, oh no, you see, actually it was not really okay, but this and that. So I'm like, I'm going to tell you what this will, because we have a band anyway, and there's nothing we can do within that band. That's what is your border-proof compensation structure, right? So I'll tell you what it is. But first, do you mind sharing an idea of where you are, just so that I know that you're having this conversation out of this is a level up. And I'll be the first recruiter to tell you in that interview to say, please in fact, do not allow people to take cuts or parallel moves to join us, because that place I think they're running away from, and you think taking a cut is okay now. Once you settle, once whatever it is that is the toxicity that is chasing you from wherever you're coming from goes away, you start to feel the impact of so as in this flex, it's permissible to say this in pidgin English, and then you start that discontent will eventually come back in. So I'm a big fan of, please don't take pay cuts and please don't do parallel moves. Do something that makes you comfortable. So that's where that question would come from. And if you met a recruiter like me, I guess you may wonder why are you so particular? But I always try to say, this is why I'm asking. And then when you say, I'm like, okay, so this is where we are. Does this work for you? Does it meet your expectations? It does not. There's no point. Let's not waste each other's time. Wonderful, whatever, but obviously not the organization for you. Can you move on to somewhere else? But not every recruiter is like that. Some people see things as, oh, if I can get you at less than the money that the company pays, I'm saving money, which is like really very funny, because really, what are you saving? If there's a great band, stay within the great band. Have that conversation. So if you find yourself put on the spot like that, a number of things can happen. You can ask the recruiter, is there any particular reason why you'd like to know why, what I'm earning now, considering the fact that this is a role where XYZ, this is what I'm bringing on the table, this is the experience that I have, and I'm aware that this is the industry average, or this is the company average for this kind of role. Again, back to what I said about doing your research properly. In that case, the recruiter will probably tell you why they're asking those questions, why they're insistent on it. Then you can tailor your response back to whatever it is that you're saying. But if they're being very funny, and that's why I said, why do people even make these kinds of mistakes? One of it is you're doing an emotional interview because you're desperate. If you're not desperate, quite frankly, the truth is you can say, well, why don't I tell you what I'm looking out for instead? Because I believe, and I'm sure that you'd also want me to cross over and be comfortable and be committed to growing your institution, and you won't want to be hiring for this position again in another 1 to 2 years. I'm willing to give my all. So why don't I tell you what will make me stay with you? And then that's if they're insistent, you can then go ahead to put something on the table. And please don't put a single figure. Always give a range. And I always advise, give a wide range. Because like we've said here, sometimes people underprice themselves, right? So if you have done your research well, you've checked Glassdoor, you know what the industry average and what that company's average is, your range most likely be closer to what they're offering. You can then say, oh, I'll be open to something like, let's say, $150,000 to like $300,000. Is wide enough that one way or the other, something that they're looking at, and even them to now calm down, because really you're forcing me to talk now, so I'm giving you an answer. right? There's no hard and fast rule, which is why I've tried to explain using very real life examples. But ultimately, if somebody is being so petty about why are you earning, and then maybe you should ask yourself, is this where I want to work? Because that pettiness, they'll carry it to other things. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ejiro. That was a robust response, and trust me, and I love the perspective you brought about it. I believe Evelyn have been able to get the answer, or several individuals also, to see not a one size fits all response, but you can get from the several responses you have given how best you can approach such conversation. So, in order for me to get Bukola to speak on this, there's this question that Chinedu mentioned in the chat box, and I just want to quickly read it out to you, Bukola, because while we were speaking earlier, you had made mention about that, and you also shared a similar experience about it. So I would read Chinedu's comment. He said, "Thank you to the guest speaker. I was at an interview doing very well, and we had concluded around the expected salary, which was £60,000. I was then asked how much I currently earn. I told them £28,000. This is similar to what happened, anyways. He had to repeat and ask me to be sure. Then he went silent and said he would get back to me. That was how I lost the job." So I believe he had mentioned already, and that was something similar to what Ejiro. I mean, it's a sad. I know. I can see the emotions that we have on the chat. So just to close it on this, Bukola, please give your final words on this. And please, no further questions. Our father has shared already the link to our speakers. You can reach out to them. I believe they'll be more than willing to take conversation beyond this space that we have and attend to you. Just let them know that the code is I'm from 10 Analytics. And I believe you. Just use that discount code. I'm from 10 Analytics. Over to you, Bukola. Thank you. You're muted again.
God. Oh my God. Okay, guys.
If I were to make $1,
I'm so sorry. Okay, Chinedu, I'm so sorry that happened. That must have been a huge bummer, and I can't even begin to explain. Imagine what that would have felt like. Yeah. So I think in that situation, what I would do would probably be around. I would try to redirect the conversation to, again, what I'm bringing to the table, my experience, my skill sets, and yeah, the value that I'm going to be bringing to the organization. I'll try to redirect the conversation to that lens, and even maybe go as far as saying that, which is one of the reasons why I'm looking for this opportunity. I'm looking for an opportunity that helps, like that, clearly aligns or clearly matches my experiences and skills, and one of the reasons why that attracted me to this organization. So while not acknowledging that whether what you're earning is low or high or something of that sort, but it's just, again, bringing back focus or bringing attention back to the experience and skills you've put forward, and then now also taking a note further to say, probably this is one of the reasons why I also looked for an opportunity, or attracted me to this opportunity, because I feel it's a better match and will better compensate me for the experience and skills that I've garnered, and is well positioned within the market, which is the best market position as well for this particular role that you are being interviewed for. So I think that's sort of how I would probably navigate that situation. Maybe in future, if anything were to happen like that again. But I think don't make it, don't draw so much on further, like maybe it's a small salary or whatever. But instead, use it to your advantage in a way. Don't make it like, don't wear it, or like Bejiro said, don't show emotions around it. But it's really around just bringing back the focus to that delivery, the result, and everything, and then letting them know that is why you were attracted to the opportunity, because they're going to is based on market positioning, and they are rewarding appropriately for that role, and that's what attracted you to it, and that kind of stuff. I think in that sense, maybe that may help, and help you navigate that situation if you ever find, and I hope you don't find yourself again in that situation. But if anyone would find yourself in that situation, that's how I'll handle it.
All right, thank you. I was muted.
No, you're not muted.
I guess okay, you can hear me. I was gonna mention if I were to get about $50 for every time you were muted, I probably would be the richest man for today. Okay, thank you very much, thank you very much, Bukola, George, and Ejiro. If you can see in the comment section, we have very heartwarming responses, and I must say you have been able to contribute meaningfully to the conversation throughout the duration of this session. For the past 90 minutes, I can see individuals, and attendance has been steady at a peak level. It tells us how sacrosanct this is a conversation several professionals are looking forward, and we can only always get better. And like we always say at 10 Analytics, some of these things seems impossible until this is done, and you can be able to do that. So when you put all of these things into practice, our alumni, we are so certain that for the next game you are, the recruiters, they go, yeah, they go no say something has been happened. And that is very brilliant. We want to say a very big thank you, special thank you to Bukola George and also to Ejiro Gubajo. You have indeed proven that you understand these things, you know your onions, and you're willing to give so much value to us for each and every one of us to learn. So if you do not mind, can you just put it? I want us to quickly take a selfie right here on the call, a snapshot, so we can capture our faces again, Ejiro and Bukola. And then our alumni, we have juicy news for you after we take this snapshot. We have juicy news. So let's stay on as we get the important information we'll be sharing across. Okay, Arafat, we are ready. Everybody say cheese. Everybody say apple and chin chin, because Ejiro mentioned or Bukola mentioned apple earlier and they made me hungry. I need to get apple as soon as I'm done here. Everybody say apple.
Apple.
All right. Thank you so much. Ejiro,
Thank you so
bye-bye.
much,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much,
Thank
Ejiro. I
you.
mean, if you have made this, I would have been in your dreams. But thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Bukola, also for
Thank
joining.
you. Thank you.
It's
Thank you,
been
everyone. Thank
several
you.
disturbing on LinkedIn. Thank you so much. Really appreciate. Bye.
All right. Bye. Bye.
Thank you, Ejiro and Bukola. Thank you.
Bye.
God bless
Bye,
you.
Drew. Bye.
Yeah,
Okay,
need I mention when Ejiro mentioned about, oh, you say you are a data analyst and they told you to work on spreadsheet, you took the sheet and you spread. I was like, then you also talk about Lapo and Nepa. Ejiro is just so trendy. Makes sense. Thank you for adding the all trendiness into the conversation. And thank you very much, Caroline. I can see you're saying thanks, Sheyi and Arafat. Arafat and I, we are always a terrific combination, and that's why it's always a delight to do this with them. So now let's get to more juiciness for you. You are here. Now let's get to let you know about something important that we have on board. And 10 Analytics, we always continually look for measures via which we can always add value to you. And that is why, as you can see on the screen, we have the referral program that you are eligible for. I've seen several people, I've had the opportunity to speak with several individuals who tell me, oh, Sheyi, I'm going to get someone into the program. I see the value you are offering to the program. However, I'm not a student, I'm not an alumni, but I would want to benefit. I'll say, oh, I'm so sorry you do not have access, because this is exclusive to our alumni and our students. And I'm talking about the referral bonus. And we've taken an upgrade from $30 to now $40. What do you get to do? It's very simple. You get someone into the program. All you need to do is fill the link. The link will be sent in the chat box right away. Fill the link and you stand a chance to get $40 doing nothing, just referring your friends. We value our alumni community, like you are aware of. And at different points in time, people mention that you have been able to help them get into tech, connect them into analytics. And today you are also a part of their success story. So please check the link in the chat right away. It's the referral bonus link. Click on it, read the terms and condition, and be sure that we are going to take it up from there. Pretty easy, and it is that simple. Yes, we are good that much. All right, so let's get to the next information. Alpha will be sharing with us something very important. Several individuals, thankfully, just a few days ago, we got the news about someone who got a job, who landed a job. And about 2 days ago, we got another individual prepped for his job interview, and we're wishing him success with that. So Alpha is just going to embellish us with more information, even as we begin to draw the curtain to a close on tonight's alumni community engagement. Thank you, Arafa. Over to you.
So much, Sheyi. Thank you, everyone, for staying to the very end. I mean, it has been engaging. It has been funny. We've laughed. We've shown emotion on this session, and we've given our favorite emojis. I mean, if I could get $1 for all the emojis that we've shared in this session, I'm sure me and Sheyi will be cashing out right now. So it means that it has been so impactful, and we hope to continue this conversation. And also, you can get to connect with speakers outside of the session. So before you go, right, we've had several people come to us. So I don't know how to book my interview prep, or I've never done that before. I don't even know where to go to. So we'll just take you through like a quick, how do you book your interview prep? Because it's quite essential, right? Sheyi, let me know if you can't see my screen.
Yeah, Arafa,
Right.
I can see yours.
All right. All right,
I
perfect.
can see
Thank
your
you so
script. Please
much.
go ahead. Yes.
All right, so all you need to do is to go to your Google showcase, and then you look for your classroom. All right, when you look for your classroom, it gives you like a display of everything that is there, right? And you need to go to you will see your dashboard of your class, right? And then you go to classwork. So when you go to classwork, it brings several itemized employability session, drop-in session. I'm sure we're all used to your classroom already. So all you need to do is to look at important material. So under important material, you see book and interview prep, right? You also see job sites and roles you can apply for your applications. You see requests for reference, everything you need, it's here. But specifically for what we're talking about, book an interview prep session. So you just click on book an interview prep, and then you see book interview prep with Stanley, book interview prep with Anita. Then you can click on anyone, right? So when you click book interview prep with Stanley, it takes you to the calendar, right? Where you will see those days that are available, those days that are not available. So obviously, those days that are available are the ones that are on blue, 28th of July, 30th of July. So when you click on 30th, 20th of July, it will bring you 8 p.m. See the exact time, 10 a.m. on 30th. When you go over to August, it shows you also same for other months, right? But because we are in July, for those of us that have we want to book for interview, some people even book like interview prep to have like a rehearsal. Do you get? So you can also do that. So let me go to the nearest one, which is 28, and I see 8 p.m. Right? I can just click on it. I put on my information and I book, and it notifies you on your calendar, and it also notifies the person that will be preparing you for the interview. While Stanley here, it will notify the person, and then that is all you need for the interview prep, right? Other information is paste your job description. So you paste your job description on the job so that it will also prepare the person that wants to, also prep you ahead of time, and that is all you need, right? So for those always asking us in the community, so I want to book interview prep, this is it. This is the way to go. Just go to your classroom, look for your classwork, go to important materials, and then you see book. I think I still go back. Then you see book and interview prep. You see several itemized options, and then you can click on any of them, and it takes you directly to the calendar, right? So I think that covers that, Sheyi. All right. So that is the end. Do we have any other question relating to this before we go on? But that is the end of the session, literally. Chinedu, oh, your hand is raised. Right, I think you can speak before we go. Chinedu, you just want us to hear your voice, right? But we will listen. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, go ahead, please.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah.
Hi.
Real kudos to you guys. You guys have done a wonderful job. I'll just jump straight into my question. I noticed recently I have a couple of friends who's been getting interviews, and I have one coming up very soon. And one question that I'm beginning to dread is the question of send us your payslip. Because on my CV, what I have there is Analytics Business Analyst Consultant. And I don't want to fall in a situation where I've been asked how much I earn, and I'm not able to provide something good. But don't reflect from this now. If I'm asked to provide my payslip, will Analytics will able to help us provide something that can
I lost Chinedu. Am I the only one?
Same here. I think I lost him too.
just to
Yeah, it's breaking.
because
Chinedu, you are breaking.
Chinedu, can you make use of the comment section? I think I picked your question, but I lost you for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, can Analytics help us with a payslip if asked? Because I know someone who just lost the job because of that. Thank you.
All right.
All right, fantastic question, Chinedu. So what I'm going to do is, this is a very, very important question to respond to. But just for the purpose of this conversation, what I would like you to do for your interview that is forthcoming, all right? Like I had mentioned, go on and click on it. Now, in the conversation that you're going to have with our experts for the interview prep, you are going to be guided on how to go about this accordingly. But for the purpose of this question, the technical concern, I would prefer that you have that conversation when you meet with our employability expert who will guide you on that. Does that make sense, Chinedu?
Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, let's get Evelyn. Evelyn, I can see your hand raised, and finally, Priscilla. Over to you, Evelyn. Evelyn is not here. Okay, let's go to Priscilla.
I'm here.
ASAP.
I'm here.
Oh,
All right,
Evelyn.
welcome. Okay, Evelyn.
Can we get a recording of this session, please?
Absolutely,
Definitely.
you will get it.
Thank you. I am not in the
You're
alumni
welcome.
community yet. I'm still in school.
Oh. Right. You will get it, don't worry. We'll share it across all platforms, both the students and then the alumni. We always do that, but yeah, we'll share it. Thank you so much, Evelyn, for
Thank
that.
you.
Priscilla,
Thank you.
yeah, we'll take Priscilla.
Okay.
Hello,
Good evening,
Priscilla. How are
everyone.
you?
Yeah,
Good
I'm
evening.
fine, thank you. Please, I just want to ask, can I get Ejiro's LinkedIn contact? Because I noticed that you put Bukola on, but not for Ejiro.
Oh, I actually put A01, but we'll definitely share that. So we'll share the recording and then we'll share the links for you to connect with our speaker. But yeah, I thought I dropped that. I can also drop it again. I have that. Yeah, I'll drop
All
it
right,
again. But
thank you very
regardless,
much. I'll be
we'll
glad to
share it.
have you
We'll
because,
definitely share it. Yeah,
yes, I noticed when you say Bukola's link, but I tried to look for Ejiro's and I couldn't get.
no problem at
All
all.
right,
We'll
it has been
share it.
shared already.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
All right, you all have been very, 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 very amazing so far. And I just want us to do one last thing, all right, before Rafa and I draw the curtain to a close on this conversation. I believe we had really, really good time in the course of speaking with our panelists and also having this interaction that we just had with ourselves. So in one word, let's just do it. Everybody, one word in the comment section. How was today's session for you? Describe today's session in one word. Let's put it in the comment section. Let's go. In one word, describe
See, I don't
today's
think
session.
one word is enough for me. I don't think one word, but I will manage with the one word.
Oh, okay. Yours is wow, awesome, amazing, wow, excellent, wonderful,
Fantastic.
fantabulous. Okay, put it in the comment section. Let's go. In one word. Oh, what was this awesome housing? Oh my God, Michael, Michael, what's that's a new one. Put it in. We want to hear that. It means so much to us, and we are always constantly rooting for you. Remember what we told you. Part of our brand promises. Stellantis is going to hold you by the hand, and we are still not going to cease in making and ensuring that all of these things happen. Fantastic, great, brilliant, excellent. It makes so much sense. Why not? Here with Analytics, we are in for you, and it's going to be a good ride at every single point in time. Arafa, can I hear your closing conclusion? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Shay. It's been an awesome ride. Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, Chinedu, Evelyn, and everybody that spoke in the call, and those that did not speak, but their comment session was buzzing all through this conversation. It's been an interesting ride, and like we said, we do this monthly. Fidelix, you're on a long thing, but yeah, you can get the recording, so don't worry. We're always there for you, like Shay said, to hold your hands, to encourage, and that is why this, alumni community event is very important to just keep the ministry moving, right? And also connect us with experts out there. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and then we'll say bye and have a lovely weekend. Yeah.
Bye, guys. Cheers.
Bye. Mm.